You know, I've never been a fan of Kickstarter, and I'm still not, and never will be. But this was a game that was actually on Kickstarter, and it caught my eye because I saw it in the release pile that was coming out this week. And I started to do some investigation about it, and I decided to jump on it. And I have to say, for a Kickstarter game, which there's a lot of them out there, I can't believe how good a game this is. It's exactly what it says on the title. Ars Victor, the 1 hour war game. And you can play this in about an hour. It's simplified, but it has enough detail to it that anybody with any kind of experience can play this. And, you know, having kids that sometimes their attention span is about as long as turning on the button to the PlayStation, you know, getting them to play a war game is actually a little hard at times. But this particular game, it helps kind of build them into that. So let's take a look at it real quick. Now, what I have here, let me get this box out of the way. I just kind of set up, you know, 3 tiles. But you actually get a ton of tiles with this. And they have different types of terrain, and the different types of terrain have different effects. And you can see the tiles are pretty big. The units, and I'll pull these closer. Let's see here. Let's turn this guy around. There we go. The units are, you know, a little cartoony, but, you know, sometimes that helps. I'm just going to tighten up the focus there. And I'm going to explain to you pretty much what these tokens mean. Here's the defense, okay? This is surrounded by a gold border, so this is considered to be a heavy variant of it. Normally it's just a red barrier. Oh, boy, I'm knocking everything out of the way here today. It's actually the hit points, and the blue shield around it means it's tough. It takes 2 weak hits, and I'll show you what weak hits mean. The other icon here is the cost. This is how much it costs. This unit costs 10 points of glory to actually get it on the field. If it's a ranged weapon, it'll be in this particular black box here. These here are dice. Those are the colored dice that you would have to roll to hit. Okay, 1 blue and 3 red for a range, and for a melee it would be 3 blue. Here's your movement. Green means that you can move and shoot, or you can do a move and then a run, which is what the yellow means, but you cannot shoot. Over here are special abilities, and we're not going to get into those, but I'll just tell you what they are. The red is stand fast. Target may convert 1 push into a hit, and I'll show you what a push is later. Take cover. Target may convert 1 hit into a push. And then finally, insertion. Drop next to friendly units from reserves, but that's a whole different animal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what happens here, and how you differ. You can tell the difference between the units. When the units come in this, you get 60 units, and there's a unit on each side. Now, the limited edition comes with 60 extra units. And I've got those right here, and these are more type of a fantasy type of thing. So you can do basically a fantasy, let's turn this, type of battle. Or, let's turn that up there, okay? Or you can do basically a kind of a futuristic just war battle here. And what happens is when you purchase these units, and you have to buy at least 5, and I'll explain that. And these units go on these cards. So as you can see now, this is a blue unit. It's a blue brew, okay? And the symbol here is what I'm going to explain when we talk about the cards and how the cards come into play. Now what happens here, and it comes with a nice reference sheet. I'll hold that up so you guys can get a good look at it. Try to back it up. It tells you all the terrain effects and what they do, whatever special abilities that it may have. Tells you about advancing, walk and run, no attack, assault, which is just a green like I explained, and offsuit. And I'll show you what offsuit is. And on the back here, it kind of shows you the units that come in the box. The Empire of Man, which is on both sides. You can use those, or you can use the ancient hegemony, or whatever the heck you want to call it. It basically looks very fantasy-like. Let me turn this light off, see if that helps any. No, don't. So much for that. There we go. Now, you get 80 points at the beginning of a match, and you'll pick whatever unit you want. Like this guy is 10 points. So you can use all 80 points, but that's going to put you in a bad spot, because what happens is this game works off of glory, and you have a glory track here. So I'm actually going to pick this up and bring it into the camera here. And what happens is if, say you decided to use 70 points, okay, you'll have a lot of units, but your glory is based on what points you have left over. And when you get hit or somebody dies, that glory gets subtracted. So the first one to run out of glory is the loser, and the other guy wins. So if you put 70 points out there, you're going to have just 10 points of glory. If you put 50 points, you'll have 30 points of glory. And you can see that it goes all the way up to 30. You have to have at least 5 units on the board. And they, whatever they add up to, and whatever the remainder from the 80 is, that's what you're going to have as far as glory. Now, this also comes with some pre-made scenarios, which are pretty good to kind of get you going. Some pre-made missions, and it's going to show you. It's going to pick out all the units for you, and you can see here, starting glory is at 36, and starting glory is at 30. Okay, and then it's going to give you, it's going to show you how to set up the different boards. I just threw 3 boards down here just to give you an idea of what it looks like. Now, you know, you'll have your units, and then you can move them as such. And on the other side, here's the red token. So you'll be able to do the same there. Put your guy on there. And you also have a command. Here's command, and when you get that, you lose a couple. If you capture that, you lose actually more glory than just taking it out. And you see everything fits on there real nice, and it's out there. Now, this game comes with cards, and you deal yourself a certain amount of cards. And what happens is they have symbols on it. Now, if you play with a particular symbol, like this guy here, as you can see, he has the cross swords. If you can move 5 units of cross swords, and you can move 5 units, or 5 activations points. So this particular unit would only cost 1, because it matches the symbol. But should you have a different suit, notice how this is yellow, okay, it would cause, you cannot move it because you can only use things with the gray symbol. So you have the swords on this side, and on this side you would have the castles. So if you had castles and you wanted to move the castles, it would cost you 2 activation points. So you would only probably be able to move 2 units of non-suited and 1 unit of particular suited of the cross swords. So that comes into play and plays into the strategy. There's also cards in here with the yellow, and the same applies. Now, you kind of, when you set up your units, you're going to want to break it up a certain way because you get to choose what side you want to use and what unit you want to, you know, have set up as. And these cards are dealt randomly, and you have 5 in your hand, and you're going to have to play those out and then rehand. And you know, there could be some times where you're not able to move particular units that you really want to move. So you know, that comes into play. Let me just make sure I got that offsuit cost extra, same color on it. Yeah, okay. You can only move them at the same color. So you're going to want to make sure that you got a good variance and mix it up pretty good so you get a good flow and it falls into your strategy. And it's a pretty strategic game, but it moves so quickly. Now, we were talking about dice. These dice are in different colors. You have the white, red, and the blue, and you can see they have these different symbols. This symbol here is a pushback. This is considered a light hit. This is considered a heavy light hit. A light hit that goes through armor, I believe. And then these have less symbols on it. It just has a light hit on it. So if you have a unit that's just rolling white, it's highly unlikely that you're going to get very many hits, and you're more likely to get a pushback, and it's almost like you have to roll a 6, where the blue has more hits and a heavy hit, and the red is, you know, pretty much medium. But you would roll these, and then you would take and, depending on the hits, subtract them and use these little markers here, which I think is pretty cool. Say you got 3 hits, and you would mark that with a 3, determining that you have 3 hits, which means you only could take 2 more hits with this particular unit. So it plays pretty fast. It sets up very well. It's very interesting. I really like it, and like I said, it doesn't make me like Kickstarter. I mean, I just can't see taking and putting my money out for something that isn't going to be on time, and you're not sure it's going to be on time. Especially when they say, hey, support this project, and hopefully we'll have it out in August 2015. I'm old. Who knows if I'm even going to be alive in 2015. But hopefully I will. But you know, for the most part, you know, I just never was a big Kickstarter fan. I usually wait for it to come out. Super Dungeon Explorer, you know, I love that game. But you know, they're coming out with Forgotten Kings. Supposedly it's supposed to be here at the end of the year. 99% of the time the games are late. And if I really want to get a hold of it, I'll spend my money when it's out. Sure, you get all the extra little knickknacks and stuff like that if you overspend and this, that, and the other, and you invest in it. And I really believe that, you know, it's a good system. I just can't see doing it for something that I'm not even sure I'm going to like. So that's why I always like to investigate things and try to show off different things, especially to you guys. You know, so you get a you know, good idea. Hey, that looks kind of interesting. Let me try somebody else's channel. Maybe they have a playthrough, or maybe this, that, and the other. And you know, you get a good feel for it. And if it's something that tickles you, go out and get it. So that's Ars Victor, you know, pretty much condensed. You get a lot of stuff. This box was 2.5 pounds, and you know, you get a lot of good stuff in here. I think this is a very well put together. This was actually a labor of love for somebody because they put everything into it, and I have to tell you, what a fantastic job Trip West Games did. And I'll tell you something, if they're going to make more games and come out with more supplements for this, I will support them. So that's about it, and we'll talk to you next time.